My parents told me, "We wish you'd never been born." I stood firm and replied, "If that's what you want, then treat me as though I never existed." Then I walked out. 30 minutes later, the entire party panicked. 38 missed calls. The moment I finally became invisible, exactly like they always wanted, my whole world cracked open. And what unfolded next was a terrifying, exhilarating kind of freedom. I'm Olivia, and for 32 years, I felt like a footnote in my own family's story. I was always the disappointment, the one who never quite measured up to my golden child sister, Scarlett. Where Scarlett aced piano recitals and debate competitions, I found peace painting in my room and losing myself in poetry. While she pursued a law degree at Stanford, I chose graphic design at a state school. And when she married a successful investment banker named Noah, I remained happily single, building my freelance career. The favoritism wasn't subtle. It never was. For her 16th birthday, Scarlett got a new car. I got a gift card to Target. Her sweet 16 was a massive bash at Willow Creek Manor. Mine was pizza with 3 friends in our basement. Every achievement she earned brought tears of joy from Mom and proud backslaps from Dad. My accomplishments? Polite nods, then an immediate shift back to whatever Scarlett was doing. I learned to just accept it. What choice did I have? They were my parents, and a twisted part of me kept hoping that one day, they'd really see me. That hope died for good on Scarlett's 30th birthday. Mom and Dad had rented out the entire banquet hall at Willow Creek Manor, the fanciest place in town. Over 200 guests. The floral arrangements alone probably cost more than my monthly rent. There was a live jazz band, an open bar, and a 5-tier cake that looked like a museum piece. For context, my 30th birthday, 2 years earlier, was acknowledged with a text from Mom, "Happy birthday. Scarlett wants to know if you can babysit next weekend." I almost didn't go. My best friend, Chloe, had begged me to skip it, to stop subjecting myself to their treatment. But some foolish part of me still thought, maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. Maybe they'd introduce me to their friends. Maybe they'd acknowledge my recent major client win. Maybe I'd finally feel like I belonged. I wore my best dress, a midnight blue number I'd splurged on, and arrived exactly on time. The venue was stunning, draped in Scarlett's favorite blush pink and gold. Everywhere I looked, photos of her, Scarlett as a baby, graduating high school, her wedding day, charity galas with Mom and Dad. Not a single picture of me. I found my assigned seat at table 14, in the back corner near the kitchen doors. Mom had put me with distant cousins I barely knew and Dad's old co-workers who kept asking if I was the catering manager. Meanwhile, Scarlett held court at the head table, our parents on either side, Noah beside her, and their 2 young children, Leo and his sister, completing the perfect family portrait. The evening played out just as I'd expected. Dad gave a tearful speech about Scarlett exceeding every dream they'd ever had. Mom presented a slideshow, set to orchestral music, documenting every milestone of Scarlett's life. Relatives and friends approached the mic to share anecdotes about her brilliance, her kindness, her sheer perfection. Nobody mentioned me. Nobody even glanced my way. I sat there, nursing a glass of wine, wondering why I'd bothered to come. Chloe had been right. This was masochism disguised as family obligation. Then came the moment that shattered everything. After speeches and dessert, I made the mistake of approaching my parents' table. I just wanted to say hello, to be acknowledged for 5 minutes at this endless celebration of my sister. Mom was talking to Scarlett about a charity auction. Dad was bouncing my nephew, Leo, on his knee. "Hi, Mom." "Hi, Dad," I said, forcing brightness into my voice. Mom glanced up briefly, her smile faltering when she saw me. "Oh, Olivia, are you enjoying yourself?" "The party is beautiful." "You both did an amazing job," I replied. "Well, Scarlett deserves the best," Dad said, tickling Leo's chin. "Nothing but the best for our special girl." Scarlett looked up from her phone, barely acknowledging me. Olivia, could you be a dear and check if the caterers need anything? Mom and Dad paid them a fortune, and I want to make sure everything's running smoothly. She wanted me to monitor staff at her party, where I was supposedly a guest. I'm actually sitting down, I said carefully. Maybe you could ask Noah? Scarlett's perfectly shaped eyebrows rose. Noah is networking with Dad's business associates. You know how important these connections are. Surely, you're not that busy. Something hot and sharp twisted in my chest. Scarlett, I'm a guest here. I'm your sister, and I'm asking you for a small favor, she said, her tone sharpening. Is that really too much? Mom cut in, her voice taking on that particular edge I'd heard my entire life. Olivia, please don't make a scene. This is your sister's special day. I'm not making a scene. I just don't think it's appropriate for me to. There you go again, Dad interrupted, his jovial expression vanishing. Always so difficult. Always so sensitive. Can't you just do something nice for your sister without turning it into a whole production? Nearby guests had started to notice. I could feel their eyes on me, hear the whispers. My face burned with humiliation. I just wanted to say hello to my parents, I said quietly. That's all. Well, you said hello, Scarlett snapped. Now, can you please make yourself useful? The words came out before I could stop them. Why did you even invite me? The question hung in the air like smoke. Mom's face flushed pink. Dad's jaw tightened. Scarlett looked genuinely confused, as if she'd never considered my feelings before. What kind of question is that? Mom hissed, leaning forward. Your family. Am I? I shot back. Because I've been here for 3 hours, and the only time anyone's spoken to me is to ask me to work. You seated me at table 14 with people I don't know. There's not a single photo of me in your entire slideshow. Dad's speech didn't mention me once. So I'm asking seriously, why did you invite me? How dare you? Dad said, his voice low and dangerous. After everything we've done for you? After we paid for your college, put a roof over your head, gave you every opportunity? You gave Scarlett every opportunity, I corrected. I got the leftovers. Scarlett stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. You're unbelievable, Olivia. You've always been jealous of me. Always resentful. Can't you just be happy for me for once? I'm not jealous of you, I said, my voice cracking despite my efforts. I just want to matter. I just want our parents to see me. Mom stood as well, her expression cold and furious. Lower your voice right now. You're embarrassing us in front of all these people. I'm embarrassing you? I laughed, a bitter sound. You stuck me in a back corner like I'm some shameful secret. You've ignored me all night. You treat me like I'm invisible and then you're upset when I finally say something? If you're so unhappy, maybe you shouldn't have come, Scarlett said icily. Maybe you're right, I replied, tears threatening, but I refused to cry. Maybe I should just go. Fine, Dad said. Leave if you're going to act like a child. I stared at him, his red face and dismissive wave. This was the man who'd taught Scarlett to ride a bike, attended every one of her soccer games, walked her down the aisle with tears streaming. This was the man who'd forgotten my college graduation because Scarlett had a dentist appointment. You've never wanted me here anyway, I said. You've made that clear my entire life. Oh, here we go, Mom said, rolling her eyes. The victim routine. Everything is always about poor Olivia and how mistreated she is. You're being dramatic, Scarlett added. We've always treated you fairly. Fairly? The word came out as a bitter laugh. You can't be serious. We did our best with you, Dad said coldly. We tried to guide you, to help you become something. But you were always so stubborn, always choosing the wrong path. We supported Scarlett because she made good choices. She worked hard. She made us proud. And I didn't? Frankly, no, Mom said. You settled for mediocrity, Olivia. You chose an easy degree, an unstable career, a life with no direction. We can't celebrate failure just to make you feel better about yourself. The words hit me like physical blows. Around us, the party had gone quiet. People were openly staring now, some with pity, others with barely concealed glee at the family drama. I'm not a failure, I whispered. Then why are you still struggling at 28? Dad demanded. Why don't you have a husband, a real career, children? Look at your sister. Look at what she's accomplished. That's success, Olivia. That's what we're celebrating tonight. Because she's everything you're not, Scarlett said quietly, and the cruelty in her voice was almost casual, like she was commenting on the weather. Something inside me cracked. All those years of hoping, of trying, of convincing myself that if I just worked hard enough, achieved enough, they'd finally love me the way they loved her. All of it was pointless. They would never see me. They would never value me. I would always be the disappointment, the afterthought, the burden they tolerated out of obligation. You know what? I said, my voice surprisingly steady. You're right. I should never have come tonight. Finally, something we agree on, Mom muttered. I looked at each of them in turn. My father, who'd never once told me he was proud. My mother, who'd compared me to Scarlett since the day she was born. My sister, who'd used me as a stepping stone her entire life and never once questioned whether she deserved her pedestal. I should never have been born into this family, I said clearly. Dad's face went purple. How dare you say something like that? After everything, you've made it clear I'm not wanted. I'm the wrong daughter. The embarrassment. The one you wish you could erase from the family photos. I felt an eerie calm, like I was watching the scene from outside my body. Well, congratulations. You don't have to wish anymore. What's that supposed to mean? Scarlett demanded. It means I'm done, I said simply. I'm done begging for scraps of affection. I'm done hoping you'll change. I'm done pretending we're a family. Mom's face had gone pale. Olivia, you're being ridiculous. Sit down and stop making a scene. We wish you were never born. Dad suddenly shouted, his face contorted with rage. There, I said it. Is that what you wanted to hear? You've been nothing but a disappointment since the day you were born. A burden, a problem. We wish we'd only had Scarlett. The words echoed through the silent ballroom. Somewhere in the distance, I heard someone gasp. The jazz band had stopped playing. 200 people watched this moment, witnessing my final humiliation. But strangely, I felt no pain. The words that should have destroyed me just confirmed what I'd always known deep down. They finally said out loud what their actions had been screaming my entire life. I looked at my father with complete clarity. If that is what you wish, then consider me as if I never existed. What? Mom sputtered. I turned to Scarlett. Congratulations on your birthday. I hope you got everything you wanted. Then, to my parents, you just did, too. Mom reached out like she wanted to grab my arm. Olivia, wait. But I was already walking. Past the head table, past the gawking guests, past the elaborate floral arrangements and the ridiculous 5-tier cake. I walked through that ballroom with my head high, my shoulders back, my steps firm and deliberate. Behind me, I heard Dad call out, "Let her go. She'll come crawling back. She always does." He was wrong. I was never coming back. I reached the parking lot and climbed into my 10-year-old Honda, the car I bought myself because Dad refused to co-sign a loan for me while happily buying Scarlett a brand new BMW. My hands were shaking as I started the engine, but my mind was crystal clear. I drove to my apartment across town, a modest one-bedroom I'd worked 3 jobs to afford during college. Once inside, I went straight to my bedroom and pulled out my laptop. I opened my email and began typing. The first email went to my cousin Harper, the one family member who'd always been kind to me. I explained what had happened and asked her to pass along my decision to anyone who asked. I was removing myself from the family. No more holidays, no more birthdays, no more obligatory phone calls. They wanted me gone. I was granting their wish. The second email went to my parents' family lawyer, Uncle David. I requested information about legally removing myself as a beneficiary from any family trusts or inheritance matters. I wanted no claim to anything they possessed. If they wanted to pretend I'd never existed, we'd make it official. The third email was to my landlord asking about breaking my lease early. I wanted to move somewhere new, somewhere without memories of desperate attempts to win unwinnable love. As I typed, my phone started buzzing. Mom calling. I declined it. 30 seconds later, Dad calling. Declined. Scarlett calling. Declined. The calls kept coming. I silenced my phone and kept working. I spent the next 2 hours systematically removing myself from their lives. I blocked their numbers. I unfriended and blocked them on every social media platform. I changed my emergency contacts at work and with my doctor from my parents to Chloe. I drafted a simple message to send to extended family members, explaining that I was stepping away from the family and asking them to respect my decision. By the time I finished organizing my exit from their lives, I'd received 38 missed calls from various combinations of my parents and sister. 38 desperate attempts to reach me after they'd spent my entire life pushing me away. The text messages started around the 30-minute mark after I'd left the party. Mom, Olivia, come back. We need to talk about this. Dad, you're being childish. Answer your phone. Scarlett, you ruined my party. The least you can do is respond. Then, as time passed and I didn't respond, the tone shifted. Mom, please. Olivia, just let us know you're safe. Dad, we didn't mean those things. Come home. Scarlett, everyone is asking about you. You're embarrassing us. More time, more desperation. Mom, I'm worried sick. Please call me. Dad, whatever we said, we can work it out. Don't do this. Scarlett, Mom is crying. Are you happy now? I read them all with strange detachment. These were the same people who'd ignored my texts for days at a time, who'd cancelled plans with me without apology, who'd forgotten my birthday entirely last year. Now that I'd finally done what they claimed to want, they were panicking. Around 1 o'clock in the morning, my phone rang again. This time, it was Cousin Harper. I answered. Olivia. Oh, thank God. Are you okay? Your parents are losing their minds. Your mom called me sobbing. I'm fine, Harper. Better than fine, actually. What happened? Scarlett said you caused a huge scene at her party. I gave her the abbreviated version, starting with the years of neglect and ending with Dad's declaration that they wished I'd never been born. Harper was silent for a long moment. Jesus, Olivia. I knew they favored Scarlett, but I didn't realize it was that bad. Nobody did. I got good at hiding it. So what now? What are you going to do? Exactly what I said. I'm done. I'm out. They wanted me gone, so I'm gone. They're saying it was a misunderstanding, that things got heated and words were said that nobody meant. They meant every word. They've been saying it with their actions for 28 years. Tonight, they just finally said it out loud. Olivia, for what it's worth, I think you're right to walk away. You deserve better than how they've treated you. Thanks. That means a lot. What can I do? Just tell anyone who asks that I'm okay and that my decision is final. I don't want a reconciliation. I don't want apologies. I just want to be left alone. I can do that. Olivia, I'm proud of you. It took guts to walk out like that. After I hung up with Harper, I finally allowed myself to feel everything I'd been suppressing. I cried for the little girl who tried so hard to earn her parents' love. I cried for the teenager who'd blamed herself for not being enough. I cried for the adult who'd wasted years hoping for crumbs of affection. But underneath the grief was something else. Relief. Freedom. The exhausting burden of trying to force people to love me was finally lifted. I was done performing for an audience that would never applaud. The next morning, I woke to discover 17 voicemails. I deleted them all without listening. There were 43 new text messages. I deleted those, too. My email inbox had 6 messages from my parents, each more frantic than the last. I archived them without reading. Chloe came over around noon with coffee and bagels. She took one look at my face and pulled me into a hug. You actually did it, she said. I actually did it. How do you feel? I considered the question carefully. Lighter. Like I've been carrying around a backpack full of rocks, and someone finally told me I could put it down. Over coffee, I told her everything. She'd known about the favoritism, had witnessed some of it firsthand over our 10 years of friendship, but hearing the full scope of it made her visibly angry. Those people don't deserve you, she said fiercely. They never did. I know that now. So, what's the plan? I'm moving. Starting fresh somewhere new. Somewhere without memories or expectations or family who wish I didn't exist. Where are you thinking? Austin, maybe? Or Denver? Somewhere with a good creative scene where I can build my business and just breathe. When? As soon as possible. I'll finish up my current projects, break my lease, and go. Maybe a month. Chloe grabbed my hand. I'm going to miss you like crazy, but I'm also so damn proud of you. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity. I gave notice to my landlord and began apartment hunting online in Austin, which I decided on for its thriving design community. I notified my clients of my upcoming move and assured them it wouldn't affect our projects. I started packing, donating, and selling off everything that wouldn't fit in my car for the cross-country drive. During this time, my phone continued to ring. They left messages I never listened to. They sent texts I never read. They tried to reach me through relatives, through old friends, through anyone who might have my contact information. Harper kept me updated. Apparently, the aftermath of Scarlett's party had been catastrophic. Guests had spread word about the public confrontation. Dad's business associates had been appalled by his behavior. Mom's book club friends were gossiping. Scarlett was furious that her perfect party had been derailed by family drama. But more than that, they seemed genuinely distressed by my absence. Mom had apparently broken down at her weekly dinner with her sisters, confessing that she didn't know where I was or if I was okay. Dad had skipped his golf outings, uncharacteristically withdrawn. Scarlett had posted a cryptic message on social media about family misunderstandings that her followers interpreted as trouble in her perfect life. They want to apologize, Harper told me during one of our catch-up calls. Your mom keeps saying they didn't mean it. That emotions were running high. That families say things they don't mean. They meant it, I said firmly. And even if they didn't, it doesn't change 28 years of showing me exactly where I ranked in their priorities. I told them that. I said you weren't interested in apologies. How'd they take it? Not well. Your dad actually got angry with me, like it's my fault you won't talk to them. Your mom just cried. Part of me, the part that had spent my whole life trying to please them, felt guilty. But I squashed that feeling ruthlessly. Their distress was not my responsibility. I hadn't created this situation. I'd simply stopped pretending it didn't exist. 3 weeks after the party, I was nearly ready to leave. My apartment was mostly packed. My car loaded with essentials. I had an apartment lined up in Austin and 2 new clients already secured in my new city. Everything was falling into place. That's when Scarlett showed up at my door. I almost didn't answer when I saw her through the peephole. But curiosity got the better of me. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. She looked terrible. Her usually immaculate hair was in a messy ponytail. Her face bare of makeup, dark circles under her eyes. This wasn't the polished, perfect Scarlett I'd known my entire life. "What do you want?" I asked flatly. "To talk. Please, Olivia. Just 5 minutes." "Why?" "Because you're my sister and I miss you?" The laugh that escaped me was harsh. "You miss me, Scarlett? You've barely acknowledged my existence for the past decade unless you needed something from me. I know. I know I've been awful. We all have. But walking away from the entire family, disappearing without a trace, that's extreme, Olivia." "Is it?" "Dad told me they wished I was never born, in front of 200 people. That seems pretty extreme to me." She flinched. "He didn't mean it. He was angry and embarrassed, and he said something horrible. But he's been a wreck since you left." "They both have." "Good. Olivia. Please. They want to apologize. They want to make things right. There is no making this right. This isn't about one bad night or one terrible comment. This is about an entire lifetime of being treated like I'm defective because I'm not you." Scarlett's eyes filled with tears. "I never asked to be put on a pedestal. I never wanted them to treat you differently, but you benefited from it. You enjoyed it. And you never once stood up for me or told them to treat me better. You are complicit in it, Scarlett. You used their favoritism to get whatever you wanted. And you stepped on me to stay elevated. That's not fair. Isn't it? How many times did you ask me to babysit while you went out? How many times did you volunteer me for things without asking? How many times did you let them blame me for problems you caused? You knew exactly what was happening and you did nothing to stop it because it benefited you." "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry, Olivia. You're right. I took advantage. I let it happen. I was selfish and cruel, and I'm sorry. Do you know what's funny? I spent my whole life wanting to hear those words. Now that you're saying them, I realize they don't change anything. You're sorry because I finally left, because your perfect family image is cracked, because people are gossiping about the family drama. You're not sorry for the years of harm. You're sorry about the consequences. That's not true." "It is, though. If I'd stayed quiet and kept accepting the scraps, you'd still be treating me the same way. It's only now that I'm gone that you suddenly care." Scarlett wiped her eyes, mascara smearing despite the lack of makeup. "What can I do? How can I fix this?" "You can't. That's what you don't understand. Some things can't be fixed. Some damage is permanent. You and Mom and Dad broke something in me a long time ago, and I'm finally accepting that it's never going to heal as long as I keep exposing myself to the people who broke it." "So that's it? You're just going to erase us from your life? Pretend we don't exist? You mean the way you erased me from yours? The way there wasn't a single picture of me at your party? The way I wasn't mentioned in Dad's speech? Yeah, Scarlett. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the gift you all wanted. A life without me in it. We don't want that. You did. You do. You just don't like how it looks when it's actually happening. You don't like that I'm the one who left instead of waiting around to be discarded. You don't like losing control of the narrative. What about Mom? She's heartbroken, Olivia. She doesn't eat. She barely sleeps. She keeps going into your old room and just sitting there. The guilt tried to surface again, but I pushed it down. Then she knows how I felt my entire life. Maybe this will teach her that words have consequences. That you can't treat people like they're worthless and expect them to stick around. So, you're really leaving? Harper said you're moving to Austin. I am. And I'd appreciate it if you didn't share any details about where I'm going or what I'm doing. I want a clean break. You're asking me to lie to our parents about where you are. I'm asking you to respect my boundaries for the first time in your life. Scarlett's face crumpled. I don't know how to be a sister without you. You were never a sister to me, Scarlett. You were a competitor I couldn't beat, a standard I couldn't meet, a constant reminder of everything I wasn't. So, you'll be fine without me. Better, probably. You won't have to feel guilty anymore when they lavish attention on you that they should be dividing equally. That's cruel. It's honest. I'm done being polite and swallowing my feelings to make everyone else comfortable. I'm done pretending this was a normal, functional family. We weren't. We were broken, and I was the scapegoat who kept the illusion alive by accepting that role. Well, I quit. Find a new scapegoat. She reached out like she wanted to touch my arm, but I stepped back. Goodbye, Scarlett. I hope you have a good life. I genuinely do. But I can't be part of it anymore. I closed the door before she could respond. Through the wood, I heard her crying. Part of me wanted to open the door, to comfort her, to take it all back. But I'd learned that my compassion was a weapon they used against me. So I walked away and finished packing. 2 days later, I loaded the last box into my car. Chloe stood on the sidewalk, crying openly despite her attempts to be supportive. Call me when you get there, she said, hugging me tight. And visit, or I'll visit you. This isn't goodbye forever. It's not, I agreed. It's just goodbye to this version of me. The one who begged for love from people who couldn't give it. I'm really going to miss you. I'll miss you, too. But I have to do this. I have to find out who I am without their voices in my head telling me I'm not enough. You're going to be amazing. I know it. I climbed into my car and started the engine. As I pulled away from my apartment building, away from the city where I'd spent 28 years trying to earn my place in a family that didn't want me, I felt something unexpected. Hope. The drive to Austin took 3 days. I stopped at roadside motels, ate at diners, and watched the landscape change from familiar to foreign. Each mile felt like shedding skin, becoming someone new, someone unbound by history and expectation. My phone remained on, though I blocked all their numbers. Harper texted occasionally with updates I didn't ask for, but read anyway. Mom had hired a private investigator to find me. I'd had to call Harper and explicitly forbid her from sharing any information about my location, explaining that if my privacy wasn't respected, I'd have to cut contact with her, too. Dad had apparently shown up at my old apartment building, demanding the landlord tell him where I'd gone. The landlord, thankfully, had refused. Scarlett had posted more cryptic messages on social media about family and forgiveness that her followers ate up, not knowing the truth behind the carefully curated posts. They were doing everything except what I'd actually asked for, leaving me alone. Austin welcomed me with bright skies and vibrant energy. My new apartment was small, but it was mine, untainted by memories of disappointing people who couldn't be pleased. I spent my first week exploring the city, finding coffee shops and bookstores, claiming spaces that held no ghosts. I threw myself into my work with renewed energy. Without the constant drain of family obligations and emotional manipulation, my creativity flourished. I landed 3 major clients within my first month. My portfolio expanded. My income grew. I was building something real, something mine. Slowly, carefully, I began to build a new life. I joined a local hiking group and made friends with people who knew nothing about my past. I took a pottery class on Tuesday nights. I volunteered at an animal shelter on weekends. I dated casually, nothing serious, just learning what it felt like to be chosen first instead of as a consolation prize. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was breathing real air instead of the suffocating atmosphere of a family that saw me as defective. 3 months after I left, Harper called with news. I thought you should know. Your parents hired a family therapist. They started going about a month ago. Good for them. Olivia. They're really trying. They're confronting some hard truths about how they treated you. The therapist has been having them go through old family photos, and your mom said she was shocked to realize how few pictures of you there were. So, she needed me to disappear to notice I existed? That's exactly the problem, Harper. I know. I'm just passing along the message. Tell her I'm glad she's getting help. But my answer is still no. I don't want reconciliation. I don't want apologies. I want the life I'm building. The one where I matter because I exist, not because I earned it. She's going to keep trying. You know, they all are. Then they're wasting their time. I'm not their daughter anymore. I'm not Scarlett's sister. I'm just Olivia, and I'm fine with that. Harper hesitated. There's one more thing. Your mom did hire a private investigator at first, but I told her if she didn't call him off immediately, I'd never speak to her again. She canceled the contract. I just thought you should know she respected that boundary. Thank you for that. I mean it. 6 months in Austin became a year. My business thrived. I'd built a solid friend group. I dated someone seriously for a few months before we mutually decided we were better as friends. I'd hiked countless trails, attended poetry readings, taken up painting again, discovered I loved making ceramics. I was happy, genuinely, authentically happy in a way I'd never been while trying to force myself to fit into a family that had no room for me. The messages from Harper became less frequent. Eventually, she reported that my parents had slowly begun accepting my decision, though they still kept a small hope I might change my mind someday. Scarlett had apparently thrown herself into her charity work, possibly overcompensating for her guilt. The family had closed ranks, telling relatives that I'd moved away for career opportunities, and we'd agreed to give each other space. They'd created a palatable narrative that didn't involve admitting what they'd done. I wasn't surprised. On my 32nd birthday, I celebrated my first full birthday in my new life without them. Chloe flew out to visit, and we spent the weekend wine tasting in the Napa Valley, laughing until our faces hurt, free from the shadow of comparison and disappointment. You look different, Chloe observed over dinner our last night together. Different how? Lighter, happier, like yourself, but more so. Like you're finally taking up all the space you're supposed to instead of shrinking to fit into corners. She was right. I had expanded to fill my own life instead of contracting to fit into theirs. I'd stopped apologizing for existing. I'd stopped trying to earn love that should have been freely given. I'd stopped accepting crumbs and insisting they were enough. I'd walked away from people who wished I'd never been born. And in doing so, I'd finally learned how to live. Sometimes late at night, I wonder what would have happened if I'd stayed. If I'd accepted Dad's cruel words and Scarlett's casual cruelty and Mom's willful blindness. If I'd kept showing up to family events where I was invisible, kept hoping that one day they'd see me. Kept waiting for love that was never coming. I know exactly what would have happened. I would have slowly erased myself, piece by piece, until nothing remained but an echo of a person, a ghost haunting a family that didn't notice when she stopped breathing. Instead, I chose myself. I chose my peace, my potential, my right to exist without justification. They got what they wished for. They have their perfect family unit: Mom, Dad, Scarlett, Noah, and the grandchildren. No difficult daughter to explain. No disappointing child to motivate. No scapegoat to make themselves feel superior. And I got what I needed. Freedom from people who couldn't love me. Space to discover who I am without their voices in my head. Permission to build a life where I'm not an afterthought or a burden or a mistake. They wished I was never born. So I gave them a world where I'm not their daughter anymore. Where I don't exist in their daily lives, in their holiday celebrations, in their future plans. I became exactly what they claimed to want. And the funny thing? They can't stand it. They can't stand that I took their cruelty seriously, that I called their bluff, that I walked away with my dignity intact instead of crawling back for scraps. But here's what they'll never understand. Walking away wasn't revenge. It wasn't punishment. It was survival. It was the act of a woman who finally realized that she deserved better than people who wish she didn't exist. And in walking away from them, I finally learned how to exist fully, completely, unapologetically as myself. They can keep their 38 missed calls, their desperate messages, their belated regrets. I have something better. A life I built with my own hands, filled with people who choose me first. Where I'm never an afterthought or a consolation prize. I have a life where I'm not the wrong daughter. I'm just Olivia, and that's more than enough. What would you have done if your family made you feel invisible?